Everyone says they're busy all the time, no energy, no space to breathe. But let's be rational for a second. If you're always busy and still not moving forward in life, that's not hard work, that's a design problem. Constant busyness has become a socially acceptable excuse to avoid clarity, tough decisions, and high-impact work. People confuse motion with progress, activity with achievement, and end up exhausted without anything meaningful to show for it. In this video, we're going to break down why being always busy is usually a sign that you're doing things wrong, not right, and how real progress actually comes from focus, systems, and thinking, not nonstop hustle. Busy is not the same as productive. Let's start with an uncomfortable truth. Being busy feels important, but it doesn't mean you're effective. Most people flex their packed schedules like a badge of honor. Back-to-back tasks, zero breaks, constant motion. But from a rational, systems thinking point of view, that's usually a red flag. If your day is full yet nothing meaningful moves forward, the problem isn't time, it's direction. Science backs this up. The human brain has limited cognitive bandwidth. When you overload it with constant switching, emails, messages, random tasks, you burn energy without creating real output. It's like revving a car engine in neutral. Lots of noise, zero distance. Being always busy often means you're reacting instead of intentionally working. Here's the brutal part. Busyness is often a coping mechanism. It protects people from facing hard questions like, what actually matters? Or what should I stop doing? Staying busy feels safer than making decisions. But avoiding decisions is still a decision, and usually the worst one. So this video isn't about shaming hard work. It's about calling out fake work. If your calendar is full but your life, skills, income, or mindset aren't improving, then let's be honest. You're busy, but you're doing it wrong. And once you see that clearly, fixing it becomes possible. Busyness is often just sophisticated procrastination. Here's a spicy but logical take. A lot of people aren't busy, they're avoiding. Avoiding hard thinking. Avoiding uncomfortable choices. Avoiding work that actually has consequences. So instead, they fill their day with low-impact tasks that feel productive but don't move the needle at all. That's not discipline. That's procrastination wearing a suit. From a behavioral science angle, this makes total sense. Easy tasks give quick dopamine hits, checking notifications, organizing files, rewriting notes, preparing endlessly. Hard tasks don't. They demand focus, risk failure, and force accountability. So the brain cleverly tricks you into staying busy with safe work while the real work stays untouched. Look at your own routine for a second. Are you spending hours planning, but never executing? Are you learning endlessly but never applying? That's not a lack of time. That's fear disguised as effort. And the worst part? Society rewards this behavior. People praise hustle, not outcomes. Real progress is usually boring, quiet, and short. One difficult decision, one uncomfortable action, 30 minutes of deep work can beat 10 hours of shallow busyness. If your day feels full but your results are empty, you're not overworked, you're misdirected. Being busy is a sign of poor systems, not high ambition. High performers don't rely on chaos, they rely on systems. If you're constantly busy, running from one task to another, it usually means you don't have clear processes in place. You're manually doing things that should either be automated, simplified, or eliminated. That's not ambition, that's inefficiency. Think about it logically. Any repeat task that consumes mental energy without creating long-term value is a design failure. The brain is for thinking, not remembering every small detail. When you don't build systems, routines, checklists, rules, you end up firefighting all day. And firefighting feels heroic, but it's actually a symptom of bad planning. This is why calm people often outperform frantic ones. They're not smarter, they're structured. They've already decided what matters and what doesn't. So when a distraction shows up, it doesn't steal energy. Decision fatigue stays low, focus stays high, and progress compounds quietly. Busyness is loud. Systems are silent. If your work depends on constant effort instead of smart design, you're building a fragile life. One that collapses the moment your energy drops. The goal isn't to work more. The goal is to design a life where important things happen even when you're not trying hard every minute. Busy people confuse motion with progress. Movement feels like progress, but they're not the same thing. You can run all day on a treadmill and still be exactly where you started. That's what most busy lives look like: constant motion, zero direction. From a rational lens, progress only exists when there's measurable change. Everything else is just activity. Psychology calls this the illusion of productivity. When you're doing something, anything, the brain feels satisfied. But reality doesn't care about feelings, it cares about results. Did your skill improve? Did your income increase? Did your leverage grow? If the answer is no, then motion lied to you. This is why some people look relaxed but keep leveling up, while others look exhausted and stuck. The relaxed ones track outcomes, not effort. They ask, what action creates the highest return? Busy people ask, what can I do next to feel useful? One question builds empires, the other builds burnout. If you want real progress, stop counting hours and start counting impact. One decisive action that shifts your trajectory beats 100 tasks that maintain the status quo. Progress is directional, busyness is circular. Constant busyness is a silent form of burnout. Burnout doesn't always look like collapse. Sometimes it looks like being endlessly busy with no excitement, no clarity, and no real satisfaction. You're functioning, but on autopilot. From a biological perspective, that's your nervous system stuck in low-level stress mode, always on, never fully resting, never fully focused. The body and brain aren't designed for nonstop stimulation. Chronic busyness keeps cortisol slightly elevated all the time. Not enough to panic, but enough to drain motivation, creativity, and long-term thinking. That's why busy people often feel tired even after doing nothing important. Their energy leaks everywhere. Ironically, the more burned out you are, the more busy you try to look. Slowing down feels scary, because silence forces reflection. And reflection might reveal that you're climbing the wrong ladder. So instead, people keep adding tasks, hoping movement will fix meaning. It never does. Real recovery isn't about vacations, it's about alignment. When your daily actions match your long-term goals, work feels lighter even if it's intense. If everything feels heavy, cluttered, and draining, the issue isn't laziness. It's that busyness has replaced purpose. If everything is urgent, nothing is important. One of the clearest signs you're doing it wrong is when every task feels urgent. Emails, messages, random calls, tiny issues. Everything demands attention right now. But urgency is usually manufactured, not real. In rational terms, importance is about long-term impact, while urgency is often about someone else's convenience. When you don't consciously decide your priorities, the world decides them for you. And the world is noisy, chaotic, and biased toward short-term reactions. So your day gets hijacked by interruptions, and by evening you're exhausted, with nothing meaningful completed. That's not bad luck. That's bad priority architecture. High-leverage people aggressively protect their focus. They understand that most things can wait, and very few things actually matter. This isn't arrogance, it's mathematics. Time and energy are finite resources. Spending them on low-impact urgencies is the fastest way to stay average forever. If you want to escape the busy trap, you need to start asking a brutal question before doing anything. Does this meaningfully change my future? If not, delay it, delegate it, or delete it. Importance creates freedom. Urgency creates slavery. Busyness keeps you from thinking, and that's dangerous. Deep thinking is uncomfortable. It requires silence, patience, and confronting uncertainty. So most people avoid it by staying busy. From a cognitive science perspective, this is a defense mechanism. If you're always occupied, you never have to sit with hard questions like, where am I actually going? Or is this even worth it? But here's the problem. Thinking is where strategy is born. Without thinking time, you default to habits, routines, and inherited beliefs. You don't choose your path, you drift into it. Busyness keeps you operational, not intentional. You become efficient at running in the wrong direction. This is why breakthroughs often come during walks, showers, or moments of boredom. When the brain isn't bombarded with tasks, it starts connecting dots. That's not motivation talk, that's neuroscience. Creativity and clarity need mental space, not constant stimulation. If your schedule leaves no room to think, you're outsourcing your future to randomness. Being busy might make you feel responsible, but thinking makes you effective. And effectiveness always beats effort in the long run. Busy culture rewards appearance, not results. Modern hustle culture is obsessed with looking productive. Long hours, fast replies, packed calendars, it all signals importance. But from a rational, outcome-based lens, this is pure noise. Reality doesn't reward appearances, it rewards results. Nature, markets, and science don't care how busy you felt, they care what changed. This creates a dangerous feedback loop. People optimize for visibility instead of value. They respond instantly instead of thoughtfully. They attend meetings instead of building skills. Over time, they become great at performing work rather than producing outcomes. And that's how careers stagnate quietly. The smartest players detach from this theater. They don't advertise busyness, they design leverage. They let systems, skills, and compounding do the heavy lifting. While others brag about being exhausted, they're busy building assets that reduce future effort. If your work life is about proving how occupied you are, you're playing the wrong game. The real flex isn't being busy, it's being effective with minimal friction. That's how freedom is built, not applause. The most valuable work often looks empty on the outside. Some of the highest impact work looks like nothing is happening. Reading deeply, thinking strategically, learning one hard skill, saying no to distractions. From the outside, this doesn't look impressive. No rush, no chaos, no visible struggle. But internally, this is where exponential growth starts. Busy people underestimate quiet work because it lacks immediate feedback. There's no instant praise, no quick dopamine. But logically, anything that compounds, skills, knowledge, systems, always starts slow and invisible. The loud work gives fast validation, the silent work gives long-term power. This is why beginners stay busy and experts stay selective. Experts know that one correct decision can outperform months of random effort. They value clarity over speed, leverage over labor. That's not laziness, it's intelligence applied over time. If you constantly feel the need to look busy, ask yourself what you're avoiding building. Because the work that actually changes your future usually won't impress anyone today. And that's exactly why it works. Stop worshipping busy, start designing your life. Let's close this with clarity. Being busy is not a virtue. It's not proof of ambition, discipline, or importance. Most of the time, it's proof of poor priorities, weak systems, and avoidance of hard thinking. Once you strip away the emotional attachment, busyness is just inefficient energy use. A rational life is designed, not reacted into. You decide what matters, you remove what doesn't, and you build systems that protect your focus. That might make you look slow to others, but your results will move faster. Calm execution always beats chaotic effort. The goal isn't to do more. The goal is to make fewer, better decisions. To work on things that compound. To create days where progress happens without exhaustion. When your life is aligned, you won't need to be busy to feel valuable. So if you're always busy, take it as a signal, not of importance, but of misalignment. Fix the design, and the noise disappears. Productivity isn't about hustle, it's about intelligence applied consistently over time. If this video made you uncomfortable, that's a good sign, because clarity always hurts before it helps. Being busy is easy, anyone can fill their day with noise, but designing a focused life takes intelligence and courage. The moment you stop glorifying exhaustion and start questioning where your time actually goes, everything changes. Progress doesn't come from doing more, it comes from doing what actually matters and cutting the rest without guilt. So don't ask how to stay busy, ask how to stay effective. Because once your actions align with your goals, you won't need hustle to feel valuable, and you won't need chaos to feel alive.